Today's Technobabble. 5 ways to make sure you get SEO benefits from YouTube.
This is Tech No Babble, your weekly source for church video and graphics news, perspectives, tips, and tricks. And now here's your host, Paul Clifford.
Hi, and welcome again to another episode of Technobabble. I am your host, Paul Allen Clifford, and I'd love for you to join the conversation. So if you'd head over to trinitydigitalmedia.com/contact, you can leave me a question, comment, snide remark, or just look at all the contact information there. For example, my email address, which is paul@trinitydigitalmedia.com, or the toll-free voicemail hotline number 1-877-POD-ECHO, 1-877-763-3246. Either way, but you don't have to remember those. All you have to remember is trinitydigitalmedia.com/contact. Head over there and you can reach me. And I'd love to hear your questions, etc. Every Friday I do a question and answer show, and I'd love to include your questions in that show. Before I get started, I do want to say that I just had an article published on Church Production Magazine's website. So if you were to go to bit.ly/CPM for Church Production Magazine, CPM 1403, what was yesterday's date? 05, it would take you there. So that's bit.ly/CPM 140305 will take you there, and we can you can read what I've written all about streaming. So it looks like I'm going to be writing some regular stuff there for streaming, which really helps me out in SEO. It also helps me out monetarily. So anyone that can go over there and leave a comment that I can interact with, that will certainly help the publisher know that it was a good investment to have me write. So I'd love for you to head over there and do that. Now, before we continue, I do want to mention, of course, just a couple of things. First off, talking about streaming, which was the topic of my article, churchstreaming.tv provides all the live streaming and bandwidth for trinitydigitalmedia.com's churchtechcast.com network, and I could not be happier with them. One thing that you'll see here on this graphic, if you're watching the video, which if you aren't, head over to trinitydigitalmedia.com and you can see the embed. You'll notice that there are both viewer maps and countdowns. Those are just a couple of the minor features that really just take it up a notch. These are things that you have the choice of embedding in your website, and if you want to, it just makes it so much easier. So it's just part of their idea of making your life easier. I talked to someone that said that they were happy with YouTube's free live streaming because it only took them 5 minutes of service to do all the work. Well, I put in 0 minutes a show to embed the content that you see here. I just did it once and then I'm done. And that is, in my mind, brilliant that that's not one other thing that I have on my checklist before I start a show. So head over to trinitydigitalmedia.com/churchstreaming, and they will give you a 1-month unlimited free trial that you can take a look at their service and see if it's right for you. Also, let's talk about my pastor's book, What Life Are You Waiting For? this is gonna be huge. Just so that you know what kind of level we're talking about, the foreword is written by Bill Hybels. So it's not that it is kind of a 10-page ebook pamphlet. This is a real book written over several months by my pastor about doing what God has called you to do and overcoming the obstacles that are keeping you from doing that. And trust me, as someone who's been through um, some obstacles, I understand what could stop you. So head over there to trinitydigitalmedia.com/whatlifebook, or try trinitydigitalmedia.com/whatlife, because I think the What Life book redirect still refuses to work. And you can go from there. So let's talk about 5 ways to make sure you get all the SEO benefits you can from using YouTube. Um, as part of my research for the article that I just wrote, I Googled Technobabble, that's TECHNOBABEL, uh, with spaces in between those words. I Googled Church Tech Cast. I Googled Tech Help for Churches and Eternity Changers, and found some interesting results. I've got front page results for all of those. Every single term that I just told you about, I've got front page results for. In addition to Paul Allen Clifford, if you spell it the right way, well, the way my parents spelled it at least, Paul space ALAN space CLIFFORD, I just have great results for those words. So part of it is some of the things that I chose, there's not a lot of competition for. So it's pretty easy to rank for Eternity Changers, as it turns out. It's also pretty easy to rank for Paul Allen Clifford, because apparently other people aren't using their middle names. Other Paul Cliffords don't spell Allen, ALAN, or don't have that as their middle name, etc. So that's one piece of the puzzle. But another piece of the puzzle is that, in fact, what's going on is that I have videos that make those results show up. YouTube is the world's largest search engine. Number 2 is YouTube. So YouTube, which is owned by Google, they talk. And when they talk to each other, you get results. So one of the people that I follow, kind of a video mentor, suggested for people in business that you give yourself a nickname, like uh, the the best dry cleaner in Detroit. I don't know, I just made that up. And you create videos that include the best dry cleaner in Detroit in the title and some other places. And anytime you meet someone, you can say, oh, yeah, just Google the best dry cleaner in Detroit, and you would show up on the first page. That's true. So let's talk about how you could get your church's videos to show up on YouTube. Show up in Google searches as a result of being on YouTube. So I've got 5 things to figure out, 5 ways to make sure that happens. Number 1, make sure you put a link to your site with the http colon / in the first line of the comments. So if you do that, it will be, 1, clickable because of the HTTP, etc. And secondly, it will be above the fold in the comments. So anyone glancing down to the comments will see your church's website. So make sure that's there, because that will link that video to to your main site, which is good. Next, make sure that your video has appropriate keywords in the title before you upload it. Now, it's very easy to upload MVI-0348.mov, for example. But what I want you to do is I want you to instead change the name while it's on your computer to what it's going to be. So if it's going to be the marriage matrix, colon, moving beyond dating, just made that up. The marriage matrix part was a series at my church probably 6 or 7 years ago, but um, I made up that second part. So let's say that's going to be the title of your video. Change that on the computer so that when you upload it, uh, you don't have to change that in the interface. Now you might be thinking, well, what does that do? I don't know for sure, but since I started doing this, my Google SEO ranking has increased, and someone else that I follow online suggested that I do it. And what's it to me? Change it on my computer or change it on YouTube? Six of one, half dozen of the other. And it helps me because in the future I know, oh, this is the video on that. It's not some random number that doesn't really help me whatsoever. You see? So that's number 2. Change the title before you upload it. Number 3, make sure you write a good description down below in the description area and use your keywords. Now, if you don't know what a Google keyword is, this is how I think about it. There are certain synonyms that people search for and some that people don't. So if you remember back to elementary school, a synonym is 2 words that mean the same thing. So if you use the wrong synonym, you will not get as much traffic as if you use the right synonym. So I use this on Tech Help for Churches, which is actually more about the web and social media, new media. I thought this topic would be appropriate because of the video angle. So imagine that I was creating a video for, say, Creating Church, and I was talking about the announcement time. Most churches, if they were curious what people were doing about announcements, would call it announcements or something like that. At my church, we call it Strategic Matters, or StratMats for short. We don't put it on screen that that's what it's called. That's just our internal production name for it, is when we have our order written out with all the details on it, we call it StratMats. So, if I did not want traffic, what I would do is create this video and call it All About StratMats. Nobody's going to be searching for that. Google doesn't know that StratMats means announcements, so it's absolutely useless. Now, you might have very good theological reasons for choosing a specific word, but include it and its synonym in there, because Google doesn't understand shades of meaning. Google understands what most people search for. So you want to hop on the what most people search for bandwagon, not on the, well, this is dispiation versus, and not helpful. Not helpful. You want to do what people are searching for. Sorry, that was something from college. I had a professor. Anyway, so next, make sure you upload videos regularly. Google gives preference to newer content. So that means that if 5 years ago you uploaded a video that you're trying to rank for, you're not going to get as much Google juice. I didn't make that up, but you're not going to get as much Google juice, as much attention from Google as you would if you uploaded a new video every week with similar words, synonyms, etc., keywords in it each and every week. So that's part of why I'm ranking on these keywords that I mentioned, because I'm uploading videos on this every single week. So if I were you, I would make sure that my church's name and the city and state, if you're in the US, or whatever location, was searchable in plain text, in the description, maybe even in the title if you could. Things like that, where people will start to see relationships between what they're searching for and what you're talking about. And I would put that in every single week. So you might get tired of saying, "Hey, we're in Lexington, Kentucky," which is where my church is. We're in Lexington, Kentucky, but I don't want you to give up, because it could be that someone isn't searching for that until this week. And if you quit doing it a year ago, it's not going to show up, especially in reference to other churches that just started doing it this week. So, do you see how you need to do this regularly? Regularly is your friend. Weekly, probably great. Monthly, not horrid. Yearly, way too little, etc. So, regularly is your plan. Next, number 5, make sure you fill the tags area with appropriate keywords. When I first started uploading videos to YouTube, I didn't know what to put in tags. I thought, maybe there's a list somewhere I need to find. Well, there is. You can go to the Google keyword search tool and search for keywords, and it will help you with synonyms and fill those in. But you can also, if you're uploading regularly, I upload 4 videos a week to YouTube. So I have a default set of tags that are in there. So it always puts in Trinity Digital Media, Trinity Digital Media, trinitydigitalmedia.com, Church Tech Cast, Church Technology, churchtechcast.com, Paul Clifford, Paul Allen Clifford, etc. So it always puts in the things that are always appropriate. So I would definitely put in the location of your church. I definitely, if it really matters to you what denomination your church is, and that's one of your things, which, by the way, I don't think that it matters as much to people in the 21st century as it did earlier. Those brands, if you want to think of them as brands, don't have the weight that they have before and come with some baggage. So just weigh that part out. Your church's name should always be in there. And the keywords you're trying to rank for should always be in there. So make sure you fill those out. Now, I do have some bonus ideas. If you really want to go the extra mile, here are some things that I have tried, and sometimes I do them, sometimes I don't. And I think that if I had a virtual assistant to do this, I'd put that on their list, no problem. But it's in the 20% of things that don't get you the 80% of results. It's the last 20% that kind of move you up a little bit, but it takes extra time. So if you've got the time, you can make sure you do a call out for subscribers at the end of every show. And you'll actually see a call out for subscribers at the end of this show. Ideally, you would also do this next thing, which is use the Google annotations to make that clickable. That takes a few minutes, and I don't know if it's helping me or not. So that's something else you could do that would just make it easier for people. And easy is good. Finally, if you really want to get searchability, do a transcription of your video and upload that to the caption area. So this really makes it accessible for people that have hearing difficulties. It also makes it really accessible for Google, because just as people that can't hear very well could follow along, Google now knows, oh, this is text. I can read text, and it can add Google Juice to this video. So I really hope that these are all things that you'll find that help you to increase your ability to make a bigger impact on the web. What you want to do is you want to be easily found. You want people to Google a church in your area and think of your church. You want to be in the list, maybe not the top one default church, although some churches are. In the Lexington area, there's a church that's the default church. In the Louisville area, which is where I grew up, there was another church, but I have never gone to the default church. But I've gone to one of the top 10 churches, and I think that that's what you want to be, is you want to be in the top 10 so that people think of you. Maybe you're not the McDonald's, but you're the Burger King, or you're the just fill in the blank of some other place that when people think, hey, I'm hungry, where should I eat? You're in the list. You need not be the top one, but being in the list will be very, very powerful. So do whatever you can to be on that list, and that way you can go out and change eternity. Until next time, I'm Paul Allen Clifford with TrinityDigitalMedia.com.